Grow up. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 35 of the Showerpodcast, the podcast where I am in my shower and you do you. I'm your host, Young Chip, and as you can see, I trimmed my beard finally. Grew a bit too much, let's say, for my taste. I don't mind the longer beard, but I need to trim it a bit because otherwise, I don't know, it just starts not being right. And also I am getting ready because on Wednesday I will have let's say, lunch for work. So I wanted to be a bit more presentable. And also, let's say the fact that I have cut it shorter than usual, because usually I don't cut it this short, is not, let's say, a coincidence. In general, I've always considered, and I still believe so, I tend to look much younger than I am. Fortunately, still not that old, but without beard in general. But again, even if it's let's say this short, I tend to be and look a bit younger. And overall, this brought me, to realize that in most situations where I've been, be it either when I was very small, so between 10 and 15, let's say, but also later, when I was 18, 20, and even also now at work, I have always been surrounded by older people. The people that I was going out with were older than me. When I was let's say going out or having, let's say, acquaintances, they were always older than me. And right now at work, I am the youngest, let's say, among my peers, for people that are, let's say, non-graduates or let's say are there just for an internship. So this got me thinking a bit, because there is a bit of a duality and also a bit of a bias that has grown a bit on me. And I wanted to, let's say, express it a bit in this video, and maybe, again, for somebody listening in, maybe they can tell me their ideas. So when I was younger, the fact that I was with older people, so mostly, for example, when I was 12, 14, more or less, when I was going during summertime in Romania, I used to be with family friends or friends of these family friends that were definitely older. And to me, it was very inspiring because I was able to get a peek at, let's say, their lives as what I considered adults. And what I liked is that most of them were very enthusiastic. They had a lot of projects. They had a lot of things going for them. So that also motivated myself. I've always had, let's say, this desire, to aspire and to copy, not necessarily the exact thing they were doing, but reaching those goals. And I have to say, fortunately and not, and maybe this is connected to, again, even more complex things, but I've always, let's say, been either called or have acted a bit, let's say, more maturely than my age would have required. And I do believe it also stems from this, because the moment that your examples and the people that you're with are people that are older than you, you will mimic that kind of behavior, that kind of patterns, that kind of, let's say, reasoning. And so you will be, let's say, it will be easier for you to aspire to that. And again, as I've said, it has always been something that I liked. On the other hand, now that I'm in, let's say, in an industry where, not most of my colleagues, because let's say in general, this is not something true necessarily, But at the place where I work currently, and the people that I have contact with more often are, as I said also in previous episodes, are all people that have much more experience than me, and overall they are in a way different point in their life. And what changes now is that whether I can see myself being the motivated person that I was looking at when I was younger, and having a lot of things that I want to be doing, I have a lot of ideas, I have a lot of drive. The same cannot be said for my colleagues, and this is not to say that they are doing less or they are not motivated. I'm not referring to that. Fortunately, a bit I escaped that kind of mentality that I found a bit more often. I don't want to say that it's everywhere, but I found it a bit more often in Italy, whereas here in Switzerland, people still do their thing, they do it right, but let's say also because of how they are, they also stop at, let's say, what they are needed to do. And overall, also in general discussions or when going out or when having, let's say, any kind of, let's say, connection outside of what is work, I am missing a bit that enthusiastic feeling and that drive that I see and I feel and I share where I am with people that are closer in my age. For example, my friends here. And I was thinking, what kind of impact does this have, and where, let's say, should I look for inspiration? Because having it at work and being in a workplace that is, let's say, young, can be very stimulating, but it's not a given. It's not something that happens. You either end up with it or you don't. So I'm trying my best right now to think of how to, let's say, to get away from this feeling of commodity, because also, thinking, yeah, I am the youngest, I am technically the one that arrived earliest at this result. On one hand, it's amazing, but on the other hand, it puts me on a pedestal in which I don't want to be, because I don't want to be the person that necessarily did something earliest, but I want to be the one that did it best or did it in the best conditions. Being the earliest can be, of course, let's say, a plus, but at the same time, it removes a lot of the driving forces and a lot of the momentum that you would like to build on a normal basis. And that would eventually, lead you to have the experience and all the things that are required, let's say, on a normal basis to get there. And even though, for example, I still had to work for where I am, of course, but not having, let's say, and maybe this is the bit that I want to get to, not having examples at this point, and not having examples close to me, and not being able to do the thing that I was doing when I was a kid, relying, let's say, on my, let's say, older peers, puts me in a bit of a situation where I need to find a more personal drive and a more personal way of doing, which fortunately I do have. It's not that I am lost, but at the same time, it was quite curious how, let's say, I realized really 1 hour ago while doing my beer that this situation has shifted, and I still haven't fully understood its mechanisms. Of course, it's not something that, let's say, will last. And at this point, I'm also curious, how will it be when I'll be, let's say, the more experienced and, let's say, tailored worker, and I will be meeting a younger Chip, and I will be seeing how to have an impact and how that kind of, let's say, person also influences me. I will close with a remark saying that I do believe there is a necessity for both. So if for myself there is a need to have this, let's say, closer in terms of age and, let's say, experience, co-workers. At the same time, I do also believe that for my peers, having somebody that's also younger, it's an extremely favorable trait, because again, it gives them the perspective maybe that they were missing, given that they were used to, let's say, doing the things their own way. And this kind of exchange is in the end what matters, and that what brings us forward. So yeah, this was my daily take while doing my beard. I will fortunately, let's say, the only thing I can trim is the beard. The hair seems to be staying there, so for now we'll just focus on that. And yeah, having said that, I will go and finish editing this video, because I really want to go to sleep soon enough. So thank you very much for listening. As always, feel free to really leave a comment, like, subscribe. It really helps a lot. And again, thank you for listening, and see you at the next one.